While working under the Obama administration as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton conducted some government-related correspondence through her private email. The first batch of these emails is being made public. 850 pages of printed records that shed light on various aspects to Hillary's life as Secretary of State, including correspondence about Libya and Chris Stevens. A representative has stated that the emails were sensitive but ultimately unclassified documents. Margaret, this raises a red flag on Washington, the administration, and the State Department. There was a lot of emails that were deleted, and it begs the question, why wasn't the server just, it's a bit odd that the server wasn't just handed over at the beginning of all this, and why a private email? I mean, she's not alone in this. It's been stated that a new survey of high-level agency executives from the government executive media has said that research shows that the practice appears relatively common, even though it does violate the 1950s Federal Records Act. Although it wasn't illegal what she was doing. President Obama didn't pass the Federal Act until after she left office.
Right, he's now making it illegal or trying to. You're absolutely right. What she did wasn't illegal. Also, people have done it in the past. You mentioned former Secretary of State Colin Powell did this. He was known for constantly using his personal email to send, information back and forth to staff. Now, these SBU emails, we're not talking about classified information here. The only reason this FOIA request has been made for these emails is because she's running for president. The House is administering subpoenas for State Department staff. I understand that her confidant will be subpoenaed soon. And the reason that we care so much is because she is on a 2016 ballot.
Well, there are two particular sensitive emails that have come up. Blumenthal, which she was just in the press after 27 days of not saying anything, and they said, what about your old friends? And she said, I'm going to continue talking to my old friends. Blumenthal was one of them. One of the controversial things was that right before, Christopher Stevens was actually saying many, many times for a year and a half that he wanted to leave. And unfortunately, he didn't, and this tragedy happened. But also leading up to this, it was Blumenthal had sent a few emails saying that he thought it was because of an anti-Islamic video that had been shown. And then days after this tragedy happened, it was stated that it was Al-Qaeda. So a lot of people are wondering why she went to Blumenthal as an advisor. And if she was using a private email, I mean, everybody's getting on her case, wouldn't it be more easy to be government to be able to hide things if she really wanted to? I mean, this really puts all the weight on her shoulders. And if, yes, her server can be hacked. I mean, nowadays, emails are not necessarily private.
Oh, they're absolutely not private. I guarantee you the NSA has a copy of every single email that she sent as Secretary of State and not as Secretary of State, as do they probably all of us. The question is, and you brought up Ambassador Stevens, reaching out to then Secretary of State Clinton 18 months before he was murdered, and, expressing concern. The security issue actually went through Congress. That was a decision that they were supposed to make regarding that. Now, I would like to point out that this wasn't a military assignment that Ambassador Stevens had. It was a diplomatic assignment. There wasn't a criminal issue if he left that post. But the bottom line is, it's really heinous what happened to him, and it's a disgusting stain, no matter how you look at it. Is she giving her enemies a lot to talk about? Yes. Poor judgment does not equate illegal activity, though.
Right, and also, too, it wasn't all on her. It was Congress that inevitably was, so it wasn't necessary, even though she is responsible, she was Secretary of State, it wasn't, you have to look at the bigger picture. It's been quoted that Chris Saigon, technologist at ACLU, it's impossible to use a private email account when you are the head of an agency that's going to be targeted by foreign intelligence services. So in other words, I mean, I don't necessarily think that she was definitely doing anything by maliciously to not, give forth information. I think that she probably had this private email, as many government officials do, but now, since this has happened and Obama has passed this act, perhaps now it's going to be stringent, the laws, and now they're going to follow by having a government emails. We'd like to hear your comments below on how you feel about private emails in the government, and please don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching Lip TV too.